Let me guess. You've seen a character like Koji, Goku, or Eren Yeager, and maybe thought to yourself, what would it take to actually look like that? I used to think the same thing. A little surprisingly, I was 240 pounds, regularly eating 5-pound bags of gummy bears, never trained seriously, and looked nothing like I do now. I thought the sort of anime physique was reserved for guys with just amazing genetics, or honestly, like just straight up impossible. You are kind of comparing yourself to a literal drawing, but what I didn't realize was there's actually just a little bit of a formula to this. It's not magic, but we can get you looking like you can use magic, if you know what I mean. So let's break it down step by step, no matter where you're starting from. By the way, if you're watching this thinking, damn, this is exactly the kind of look I want, but you just don't know where to start, I literally built my one-on-one coaching program to take all the guesswork out of it. Diet, training, accountability, Little Debbie cakes, everything. Links in the description if you're serious. Let's define the goal here. The anime physique isn't about looking like a huge bodybuilder or anything. It's not about maxing out your squats. It's just lean, muscular, and exaggerated in all the right ways. So think wide shoulders, tapered waist, visible abs, clean lines, and just enough mass to turn heads without looking super bulky. Characters like Gojo, Sung Jin Woo, Eren Yeager, they all kind of follow this shape. It is literally just low body fat percentage and well-placed muscle. But the good news is that's completely doable, naturally, and honestly, pretty quickly. Your first step isn't to buy creatine or instantly start training 6 days a week. You're either in one of 3 situations: overweight and need to go on a cut, pretty underweight, or somewhere kind of in the middle. I get a lot of guys in my DMs and comments asking me, hey, should I bulk? Should I cut? Should I go and get struck by lightning? I don't really know. It's kind of up to you and personal preference, but no matter which of these 3 you're at right now, your plan needs to match it. So for example, when I started, I was fat as f. So I had one job: lose fat. Well, I guess that's kind of oversimplifying it a bit. Maybe it was more like lose 100 pounds while preserving as much lean mass as possible and not developing an eating disorder. I walked, I tracked my food, cut out the midnight gummy bear binges, and honestly, that alone dropped me about 20 pounds before I ever touched a dumbbell. Sure, I did push-ups in my room in the dark and pretended I was in solo leveling. On the other hand, if you're skinny, you need to eat more, but not like a maniac. Or maybe actually you do. If you have a really hard time gaining weight, which truthfully just boils down to having a really naturally low level of appetite. The idea is to set up a clean bulk with some real structure to it and training hard, which we'll talk more about in a little bit. But with all 3 of these kinds of starting points in mind, remember the number one mistake you can make is trying to follow and copy exactly what someone else is doing who is in a different situation from you without even fully understanding where you're at. Alright, so it's time to look like a protagonist. Most people think getting an anime physique just means lifting heavy and praying, but the truth is you're not training to powerlift, you're really training to look good in a tank top. Or more than likely a compression shirt. They're way cooler and you get to pretend that you're Toji. So we're literally designing your final form here. Here's what matters most: lateral delts. I'd say this is probably tied with the next one for the most important component that makes your waist look smaller than it really is. That broad, kind of capped shoulder look is absolutely crucial and fundamental for that kind of like anime protagonist sort of look. Or let's be real, anime villain. So for these, think lateral raises, cable raises, machine, it doesn't really matter. Just what feels the best and most optimal to you, and hammering them consistently without going so heavy that you're giving yourself arthritis in your shoulders and elbows. This is the most important muscle to build on your entire body: lats, or your back. Your wings, if you will. This is literally what gives you that kind of V-taper triangle. Quite literally the most anime aspect of your entire upper body. Wide grip pull-ups, lat pull-downs, rows. You are required to have a big back, no negotiating. Next up, I'm going to talk a little bit about arms. Look at literally any anime character. They're not really giant. They're just well defined. Your biceps need to pop, triceps add that thickness and keep your arms from looking literally lopsided, but don't sleep on forearms. And again, the look we're going for here isn't necessarily about the raw size. It's all about the veins, the lines, and that sharpness. Abs, yes. Train them directly, but don't make them your focus. You can get away with training them like once a week, or honestly like once every other week, and be totally fine. Because if you're following a pretty well put together program, you're going to be hitting them indirectly somewhere, some way, somehow anyways. Doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, this is one of the very few exercises I think you can get away with skipping and not really have too much trouble. But go for weighted crunches, leg raises. Definitely helps with getting a little bit of extra detail, but there's absolutely no reason to focus your training on abs. The greatest addition to your mass will always be having a fat ab. Glutes and legs, my least favorite, to be fully honest with you guys. Not necessarily a highlight in anime either, but if you ignore them, your physique is gonna look very off. Like an upside down Dorito, but in the worst way possible. RDLs, leg press, leg extensions, my favorite. When this year began, I kind of started training like a little bit of a maniac. And I don't mean spending 3 hours in the gym. I mean training with intent. Instead of just trying to lob on as much weight as I can, I shifted my focus more into considering every rep and every set, always keeping in mind, what am I trying to grow here by doing this? What angle hits this muscle the best as I'm doing this movement? Is there something better that I could be doing for my mechanics, my bone structure, and just the way my body's kind of set up? Maybe when I do tricep pushdowns with the bar, it kind of makes my elbows hurt, but when I switch to the ropes, I feel totally fine. If having a full custom plan from the training to the diet, one-on-one check-ins with me, all of the above is something you'd be interested in, check out the first link below. So yeah, not just doing more weight every week, but doing better reps on top of that. Prioritizing that super clean execution, I think, is really where the growth comes from. If you're just slinging weight around because you feel like you need to progressive overload and add 5 pounds each week, not even feeling the muscle working, you're basically just getting a joint workout, you're just not really doing much for yourself. So if training is how you sculpt your body, the diet is, of course, how you reveal it. And to some extent, sculpt it a little bit, I guess. Just let me have my cool metaphor, guys. I honestly really used to think that I could out-train a bad diet. And I kind of was able to, but it only really gets you so far. You can eat a lot of food and still lose fat. You just need to eat like someone who actually respects their end goal. So, step 1, hit your protein. 1 gram of protein per pound of lean mass, so get your body fat percentage, subtract that percentage from your total weight, and you're left over with your lean mass. That right there is a great protein target to start with. This should be like your bare minimum for protein. If you're cutting, oftentimes you want to push it just a little bit higher. Step 2, you got to be in the right calorie zone. Cut, deficit. Bulk, surplus, but slow. And if you're okay with very slow progress and you want to recomp, shoot for maintenance. But unless you already have the physique you want, going for a recomp usually isn't the best idea. But not because it doesn't work or anything, I just find them to be really slow and pretty demotivating, honestly. You're really going to be squinting your eyes at photos like 2 to 4 weeks apart trying to find differences. I designed fun, actually tasty meals, not some keto mom dog shit, that keep me full, have a ton of protein, don't ask how I put it in there, and are super low calorie. Whether it's pizza, protein ice cream, brownies, chicken wraps, just for convenience, even just some Walmart low calorie, high protein chicken tenders. And of course I still eat like normal, regular sweet stuff sometimes, still go out to eat, but the difference is I just eat like someone who actually has goals and cares just a little bit about where I want to be and what I want to maintain. You don't have to go insane and start ripping your teeth out or go on a liquid diet or start eating keto or something. Know what's going on and be more intentional. No, you don't need to track every single calorie forever for the rest of your life, but honestly, you better track until you know what's actually going on with your food. It happens on both sides. The skinny dude who eats 6,000 calories a day and somehow magically isn't gaining any weight, and then the fat person who's eating 400 calories a day and magically somehow isn't losing weight. I assure you, if you track everything to a T, you will see progress, you will see change, even if it doesn't happen overnight. And honestly, there's 2 sides to this, guys. There's the physical side, like what you actually do, and then there's the mental side. The super scary part no one sees, and honestly the part where 90% of people up or fall off. It's super easy to lift when you're motivated. It's easy to eat clean for like 3 days when you're hyped up. But when life's chaotic, when you feel like for absolutely no reason, when you've done everything right and then you wake up the next day trying to lose fat and the scale's up 5 pounds, that's the mental battle here. And you don't beat it by grinding harder or torturing yourself. You beat it by understanding yourself, knowing where you're at, knowing what's going on. I had to stop trying to copy other people's routines, other people's habits, other people's setups, and actually learn through trial and error what works for me, specifically. I don't thrive off of rigid schedules and perfect sleep hygiene. I'm just not that kind of guy. And I used to try it. I still, of course, do it sometimes as well. Waking up at 5 a.m., meditate, cold shower, meal prep 12 days ahead. The whole kind of like optimize everything sort of lifestyle really just led to me burning out super fast. What changed everything for me was this shift in mindset. Instead of asking like what's the best way to do this, like Dr. Google, go on YouTube, like see what all the rich YouTubers are doing, or at least saying that they're doing, I started asking myself, what's the best way for me to be consistent. What's worked in the past? What hasn't worked? What's epically failed? That's the cheat code. Sorry, I don't have any discipline for you guys today. Just self-awareness and some logical iteration. I figured out how to build my life around my tendencies, not fight them constantly or try to just squash them and become an entirely different person at my very deepest core roots or something. It's not like I can just respawn with a different set of genetics and grow up with completely different circumstances and adapt to a new lifestyle or something. For example, I eat most of my calories at night. That works for me. Most people say you sleep worse when you do that. I sleep better because I'm not hungry. Still have moments where I want to binge. I still have moments where I feel fat for absolutely no reason. Moments where I look in the mirror and literally all I see are flaws. And I'm not broken. I'm just human. And hopefully we all are watching this. It's kind of hard to tell these days with how AI is getting. I don't know, maybe half my viewers are just bots. No. But the point is I've designed my life in a way where I can win even on those days. The reason why the kind of aesthetic anime physique is so sought after and everyone wants it. It's really like a top 0.1 or 0.01% even feat. It's impressive and hard to do. And with it being so difficult, especially if you have a little bit of a gnarly starting point like mine, the mindset shift isn't grind harder or discipline 1,000. It's just set your life up so you don't need insane motivation to make progress. When I was 240, I yo-yoed for a while and stayed above 200 because I thought willpower would carry me all the way to the end. And as of right now, I'm down 90 pounds for my heaviest. Was down 100 pounds, but my birthday was yesterday, and shocker, had a little bit of fun this weekend. And have no problem, honestly, cutting off maybe 3 or 4 pounds of real weight, to be honest, because I built my routine around who I am, specifically, my strengths and my weaknesses. And I do the same for others on a daily basis. I used anime as fuel. When I didn't want to move, I'd think, would the future version of me, the ideal version of myself that I'm aiming for here, give in or give up right now? Would Aaron Yeager break at this point? I don't think so. But when you're the only one in your corner, it works. The anime training arc doesn't just build your body, it builds your character. So here's your roadmap. Know your starting point, train with purpose, diet with some real structure, commit to the long game, and level up your mindset. It's not easy, but it's definitely possible. My clients have done it, and right now as we speak, are doing it. And if you follow this blueprint and stick to it, you will too. Or you can always join my free community and start with others doing the same. Just don't wait for motivation. It's your life after all.